All right, we'll get into Greg the Nazi Gutfeld, as he likes to be called, soon. But first, I want to talk about how we got here. Let's start with Trump's normalization of racism. This week, he decided the Washington Commanders should change their name back to a slur. A slur I'm not going to say. Not that there are any I would. Anyway, this is what Trump truthed about his rationale for the name change. Our great Indian people, in massive numbers, want this to happen. Their heritage and prestige is systematically being taken away from them. First, before we get into the SJW stuff, let's get into the economics of the matter. He's putting a nearly $4 billion stadium deal at risk, and all the jobs that come with it, just so he can get a nothing win in identity politics. Shouldn't people who want small government be against this? Like, jeopardizing a huge deal is bad for the economy at large. It puts unnecessary uncertainty into the market. Also, this is huge government overreach into football. It's the President of the United States keeping a business from investing in America by politicizing football for his own, apparently, anti-racist agenda. I couldn't imagine a better enemy for 2020 MAGA. Here's the second reason why this is just stupid. Trump is just literally saying that you give prestige to the Native Americans by calling them slurs. 3. He is trying to define systemic racism as when we use less slurs, not as what it actually is, which is what he's doing by using the government to systematically take away Native Americans' birthright citizenship, the funding for the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and the Indian Housing Block Grants, and the Indian Health Service, all of which, by the way, the U.S. is required to fund after systematically taking away the heritage and prestige of the Native Americans by colonizing their land. And you may say, this is ridiculous culture war BS. He's just doing this to troll us, and the problem is, you're right. This is just a distraction from the Epstein files or the thousands of other heinous acts he's still committing. But it's still important to call out. Trump encouraging slurs and the dehumanization that comes along with it is an important step in building a fascist society. Now, you may say again, come on, Ben. That sounds a little bit like a slippery slope fallacy to me. It's not like we have news channels telling Americans to be Nazis. You dummies. I played you so hard, you fell right into my trap. Look at this.
Nazis, Nazi this, Nazi that. You know, I'm beginning to think they don't like us. You know what? I've said this before. We need to learn from the blacks.
That was a crazy way to say that. Like, Nazi, the blacks. You know he's unleashing something that he's kept pent up for a while right now.
The way they were able to remove the power from the N-word by using it.
I'm sorry, the power isn't just gone. Like, he still can't use it.
So from now on, it's what up, my Nazi? Hey, what up, my Nazi? Oh my God. Hey, what's hanging, my Nazi?
Okay, these may be two N-words. That doesn't make them the same. He knows this. I shouldn't have to say this, but Nazi is a name people willingly took on to show their support for genocide and oppression. The N-word is what oppressors used to dehumanize their slaves. Everybody knows that. Everyone knows what Greg is saying is plain stupid. And what's really telling is that the other 4 panelists are just sitting there agreeing with being called a Nazi. Personally, as an anti-Nazi, which Nazis in the comments would probably argue is somehow racist to say, I would tell Greg that I don't want to be associated with Nazis and believe that he should be ashamed for trying to make the murderers of 6 million Jews and millions more gay, Romani, and Gypsy people make their murderers seem like the hip new thing that everyone should want to be. And like, seriously, where's the argument against anti-Semitism here? How is this not anti-Semitism? But this wasn't just Greg's thoughts. This was the executives of the Fox News Corporation. They needed to make content off the Dems smearing ICE with Nazi comparisons. So the Fox News team came up with 2 counters to choose from. The first counter is, no, ICE is actually good, not like the bad Nazis. Or the counter they went with, which was, yes, ICE is like the Nazis, and the Nazis are good, actually. They knew it'd be hard to convince us that, their roving gangs of mass marauders kidnapping brown people off the street and sending them to expensive detention camps would be hard to spin as not Nazi-like. So they had Greg Gutfeld come on and say, yes, we are Nazis, and you should be proud of that. And start calling your friends a Nazi, please. But that's not even my favorite part of the clip. After this guy, Greg, just told the country to be Nazis, Fox's token liberal gives him the same look I give my students when they vape.
Nazi, please.
Thank God you did a hard eye.
Here, I'm guessing it means that if you don't want to be called a Nazi, then stop doing Nazi shit. But she actually needs to say that. Right now, she's just participating in the normalization of this behavior. Obviously, this isn't her fault. It's the networks. But we need real opposition to this anti-American Nazism, not quiet tolerance. There's no better time to shut down Nazism than every single time someone brings it up. It's every American's duty to stand up for our community, whether it's against simple racism like the commander's name, systemic racism like the cutting of essential support to Native Americans, or Nazism like Greg Gutfeld's. One great way to actually help return prestige to Native American tribes is to tell your representatives to support H.R. 4377. This bill will provide access to reliable, clean, and drinkable water on tribal lands. Or tell them to support House Resolution 4345, which expands the definition of what a critical access hospital is under the Medicare plans to include certain hospitals on Indian reservations. Thank you for watching. If you like what I had to say, please leave me a like and a follow. If you hated what I had to say, please tell me so in the comments. Have a great day.